Flipkart, Zomato, Policybazaar, Paytm, LICs, all these companies are planning to offer their IPOs in 2021. But what exactly are an IPO and is it worth investing in an IPO? This is what we are going to discuss in this video. Hi there, this is Kritesh and welcome to TradeBrain's YouTube channel. So now let's first understand what is an initial public offering or IPO. When a privately held company offers its shares for the first time to the public, then it is called as initial public offering or IPO. So before an IPO, all the shares are owned by the promoters, their friends, family and a limited number of people. However, after an IPO, it can be owned by anyone, may it be retail investors, domestic investors, mutual funds, FIIs, etc. So in short, IPO is a method for the companies to enter to the stock market and become public. Now the basic reason for a company to go for an IPO is to raise fund and raise capital. So here is the exact process how a company goes for an IPO. First, they offer their shares to the stock exchange. Second, the public or anyone who wants to apply for that IPO, they will apply for the shares. Third, the shares gets allotted to the public. And finally, the stock gets listed on the stock exchange. Once the stocks gets listed on the stock exchange, it enters the secondary market and it can be bought and sold among the investors, traders and all the people participating in the stock market. And this is the process of a company entering the stock market and offering the IPO. So by going for an IPO, the company gets access to a large pool of investors. It can be retail investors, domestic investors and foreign institutional investors. Now next, let us understand why the company goes for an IPO. As I explained, the main reason for going for an IPO for a company is to raise fund or capital from the public. Here they give a share of the company from their own company to the public and get money from them. So the basic reason is to get money. But why do companies need money or capital? Let us understand this next. So a company can conduct IPO because of the many reasons. Some of the top ones are here. First, for their expansion or to start a new project. So if a company wants to expand in a new city or a new country, they will require fund, and here to get fund they can go for the public and get the money. Similarly, if they want to start a new business or if they want to start a new project, again they will require a huge amount or a huge capital, and this again they can get from the public. Third reason can be to get off debt. So initially, if the company has taken some debt and they want to get rid of this debt, they can go for an IPO, collect the money from the company and get rid of the debt and give it back to all their debtors. So this can be another reason why company goes for an IPO. The fourth reason can be a new acquisition. So if a company wants to acquire new companies or new businesses, they again will require capital, and this they can get from public by doing an IPO. Fifth and final reason can be to create awareness among the people. So when a company offers its IPO, it gets a lot of publicity and gets in a lot of news. Maybe it's a media channel, news channel, financial websites or other websites. So again, by going for an IPO, the company creates a lot of awareness and a lot of free publicity for its company and for its products. So now that we have looked at the reasons why company goes for an IPO, let's also discuss few of the disadvantages or what can be bad for a company if they offer an IPO. The first is the public disclosure. So when a company applies for an IPO, it has to give a full disclosure about its business, its financial statements, its total profits, its losses, its debt, its shareholding patterns, its promoters and everything that the people should know about that company. A private company which is owned privately by few shareholders, they do not have such disclosure requirements. So one of the biggest disadvantages for a company going for an IPO is the public disclosure. Second is entering a regulated market. So when a company enters the stock market, it also comes under the regulations of SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India. Now SEBI is like a police for the corporates. They look into the frauds and all the things done by the corporates, and after entering the stock market or going public, all the companies goes under the regulation of SEBI. The third is market pressure. So now when a company enters the stock market, all their financials and everything is public, and people start comparing that company with that of their competitors and industry. So most of the public want a very fast growth rate or a company which is performing very good, and they might not care for the long-term vision of the company. They just want to look into the short term or how the company is performing immediately next quarter or next year. And because of this, the company might face a lot of market pressure, and they might have to also forego their long-term vision just in order to keep the people happy and to give good returns in next quarter or next year. Another flaw or disadvantage of going public is loss of control. So when a company offers its IPO, it has to give its shares to the public, to the FII, to the DIIs, and by doing so, they are also giving the voting rights to the people and other investors. So in a lot of cases, after going for an IPO, the initial promoters or the CEO might lose some control in the company. And fifth and the biggest flaw or disadvantage of an IPO is a failed IPO. In a lot of cases, the IPO might fail and it might list at a price lower than what it is offered. So let's say the offering price was rupees 100 and the company lists at rupees 50. Here the shareholders or the promoters have already lost 50% in the initial listing. So failed IPO can be another disadvantage of going for an IPO. Now that we have looked at the advantages and disadvantages of an IPO, let's also discuss why do many companies offer their share in the bull market. Now the promoters of a company wants to sell their stakes only when they are confident that they are going to get a good price for their stakes, and this generally happens in the bull market. In the bull market, everything is doing good, the economy is rising, the share prices are going higher, and people are optimistic. So if the company offered their IPO in a bull market, the chances of getting listing gains or getting a good premium for their stakes are very high, and that's why most of the companies list during the bull market. Now in the recent months, that is in the month of March and April, you can see a lot of IPOs coming. This is because the share market is high, and that's the reason why a lot of other companies too are applying for the IPOs. Next, let us also look at who gets the maximum benefits from the IPOs. The promoters and initial investors like the angel investors, VCs who are selling their stake in the IPO are the ones who gets the maximum benefit from an IPO. This is because they sell their stakes in a bull phase when they are confident that they are getting a good price for their stake. On the other hand, most of the investors who buy the stocks during an IPO, they are not that much benefited by applying in an IPO. So if the initial investors or the promoters are the ones who get the maximum benefit from IPO, why are people so excited about IPO, or why do you see everyone around you so excited and so hyped about IPO? Let us understand this next. So the reasons why people are so much excited about IPO is because everyone likes new thing. Maybe a new laptop, a new car, a new house, anything. If the new word is associated with it, people get excited with it. Similarly, when a new company enters the stock market, they also get excited. They start associating it with the next Apple, the next Infosys, the next Tesla or something similar, and they expect that these companies can also become a multi-billionaire companies in the upcoming years, and that's why they are very excited about applying in these IPOs and getting benefits or good returns from them. Second is the herd mentality. So when you see everyone around you applying in the IPO, you also get hyped. During an IPO, you can see all your friends, all your family, all your colleagues applying in an IPO, and this is another reason why people get excited about applying in an IPO. Third reason why people get excited about IPOs is because of the overhype created by the media and the writers. So during an IPO, the company gets a lot of publicity and they spend a lot of money in their advertisements and publicity. And because of all this buzz created by the media houses and the writers, the people get excited about applying in that IPO. So these are the key reasons why most of the people are excited by the next IPO. Finally, let us understand whether it is worth investing in IPO or not. So you might already know about the stories of companies like Wipro, Infosys or TCS. If you have invested even 10,000 rupees in the IPOs of these companies, by now, that is in the next 25 to 30 years, it would have given you a return of around 6.5 to 7 crores. So an initial investment of rupees 10,000 would have turned into 6 to 7 crore in the next 30 years. And this is the reason what most of the people or most of the financial educators tell when they want people to apply in an IPO. However, on contrary, a lot of IPOs do not perform well. Over 80% of the IPOs fail after getting listed in the stock market, or they are not able to compete with the other existing players, existing companies in the market. Only because of the bull phase or bull market, a lot of people apply in that IPO, but when it enters into the bear phase or economic slowdown, the company is not able to perform that well. Overall, it's not a very good strategy to apply in the IPOs if you are planning to invest for the long term. Anyways, if you are planning to apply for the IPOs, look for the quality of the company and their business model. If you are confident about their business and if you are confident about the quality of the stock, then you can go forward with it. But always remember that IPOs are always overhyped by the media and the writers. So that's all for this video. I hope it was interesting for you and you have learned something new today. If you have any doubts, you can comment below in the comment section. I'll be happy to help. This is Kritesh signing off.